Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to this Sunday installment of Open Mic, the show where the mic, it's open, and the floor, as they would say, is yours. What do you guys want to talk about? That is what we are here to discuss today. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. Good to have you guys here. And as the name of the show suggests, this is an open mic. So it's whatever you guys want to talk about. So if you want to get a topic or a question addressed on the show, and by the way, just so you know, just because you send in a tip does not obligate me to answer your question. I will answer your questions, but I reserve the right that if I deem your topic or question inappropriate to be sent into our show, well, then I will just thank you for your tip, but I am not going to read your question on the show. But yes, if you do have a normal topic or question you'd like to send in, use the super chat feature. Now that, of course, means, unfortunately, that you have to be watching this live. If you're watching the show a little bit later in the day, hey, I'm glad you're here. Thanks. Sit back, enjoy the show, but you're not going to be able to send in a question yourself. I've had a good weekend. I hope you guys have had a good weekend so far. Ann and I had a great day yesterday. We went out, did a bunch of shopping, went out, ate some good food, went to a great event last night. Yeah, we had a really, really good time. You know what else I'm doing this week? I'm you know what? I'm surprisingly looking forward to this. Tell you guys about this. So many of you guys know, a couple of years ago, I decided not to do any more press events. I still get, I've shown them on the show. I still get tons of invitations to go to different press things, but a couple of years ago, I decided not to go to them anymore. So I don't go to press junkets. I don't go to press screenings. I don't go to any special press events. I do not accept any invitation to any press thing ever. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons was that I realized I didn't need them. Like it was funny because I used to go to, press screenings, right? And then I do an out of the theater review to a movie. And then I realized when I would miss a couple of press screenings and I would just go see the movie and I would still do an out of theater review, I still got just as many views on my out of theater reactions going to regular screenings as I did going to press screenings. So I just kind of stopped and I haven't gone since. But this week, I am going to an event. I'm going to the LA premiere. They've already done the world premiere, but I'm going to the LA premiere and party for, what's it called again? Ballerina, the John Wick universe movie, Ballerina, right? Now, the reason I'm going, and maybe listen, if you think this is cheating, you tell me, all right? I'm totally open to it. If you think this is cheating, you tell me. But the reason I decided to go to this is because I was not invited as press. I actually got a personal invitation from somebody. So I got a personal invitation to come to this event and party. It was not as a part of a press list. It was not being invited as press. And I kind of thought, you know what? I think that's okay. Like, considering that I don't go to these things anymore, I think that's okay since I'm not breaking my no press event rule. And I was personally invited. So because I was personally invited as a guest, I decided we're going to go. So yeah, Ann and I are going to go. We're going to have fun. Again, if you think that's cheating, by all means, I'm open to criticism. Feel free to jump into the comments and let me know if you think that's still cheating on my part. But yeah, I'm going to go. I think it's going to be fun. I think, when is it? It's Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember, but that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie because they showed us a presentation for Ballerina at CinemaCon and they showed us like 10 minutes of it, whatever. It was bonkers. Now, I've seen great footage at CinemaCon to movies that ended up being bad, and maybe Ballerina does that too. I don't know, but I know I've been very excited for this movie. I've been very excited for it. I think everything I've seen from it looks great. So yeah, I will let you know. I'll do a little video from the event when I go to it this week. All right, guys. With all that out of the way, let's get into the reason why we're here, which is to talk about movies and stuff. And as you know, every day on Open Mic that I do an Open Mic, I always start off with a topic. And I jumped into the community tab. I can't remember if it was late last night or this morning. And I asked subscribers to the channel, I said, what would you like to see me discuss as our opening topic on Open Mic? And somebody wrote in what I thought was a really good one. And the question they asked was, Why do you think, despite the fact that everybody seemed to love it, why has Thunderbolts not done better at the box office? Because Thunderbolts, it's a little over $360 million now. It's going into it now, its 5th week in theaters. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, it's not going to it's going to go up a little bit more, but it's not going to get to 400. It's not going to get to 400. So despite the fact that this movie was so beloved and so like if I go ahead and bring it up here now, Thunderbolts, Rotten Tomatoes, like I believe it had like an 88 critic rating, which is good. But I mean, it also had, and for some reason, I'm not getting it on the screen. Let me see if I can get it here. There we go. It got a 93, and I don't normally mention, again, audience scores unless they're unusually high or unusually low, but this was like 93% audience rating, 88% critic rating, and I have not talked to, like I'm sure obviously there are people who didn't like the movie. Obviously there are people who didn't like the movie. I just have not talked to anybody that didn't love the movie. I'm sure there are obviously people who didn't like the movie, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying I personally have never talked to anybody who didn't like the movie. The movie's great. It's fantastic. One of the big phrases you kept hearing people say coming out of it was Marvel's back. Remember, you guys have probably read that, right? Like tons of people coming out of that movie going, Marvel's back. Okay, great. But not a lot of people went to go see it. So the question is, if Marvel made such a great movie, and all the data seems to suggest that they did, I know I loved it. I know most people loved it. Not everybody, but that's fine. Then how come, if so many people loved it, did it not do better than, as of right now, what is it, at 364 million? Something like that, 300 and some odd million dollars at the box office? Why didn't it do better than that? Well, I want to propose 3 reasons why it didn't do better. I've been corrected. It's now about 370 million. Okay, it's now at about 370 million. Still not going to get to 400, but it's now at 370 million. Which, by the way, many directors in Hollywood would kill to have a movie make $370 million. It's just not cutting it, though, when you're an MCU movie. I think we can all acknowledge that, right? So I want to go over what I perceive to be the 3 main reasons that Thunderbolts did not do better at the box office. I mean, it was a great movie, but why did it not do better at the box office? All right. We're going to start off with this. And you guys have heard me say this one before, but we're going to cover it again here just because that's the topic right now. 1, literally, this is why I said in the year leading up to the film that you should not expect Thunderbolts to be a big blockbuster, was because it is all secondhand characters. Like it had literally your 3rd level character from a Disney Plus show in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It had your 3rd or 4th most important character from Ant-Man 2. It had your 4th most important character from the Black Widow movie, and arguably your 2nd most important character from the Black Widow movie. And then you had Valentina, who's just kind of appeared. And by the way, other than Florence Pugh, who is still a growing name, I mean, none of these are superstar names, right? I mean, your biggest superstar name in there, and I guess now today you can probably say Florence Pugh would be Sebastian Stan. Again, never led his own thing. He was Sebastian Stan was literally second fiddle in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? Literally second fiddle in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So when you, and I often talk about this, when you at least look at Guardians of the Galaxy was all brand new characters. Like we never saw, let's say, Drax in a previous Marvel movie before Guardians where he was just some unimportant character. And we never saw Gamora, like say in Black Widow first, as some cameo or some unimportant cameo. And then they did Guardians. No, at least with Guardians of the Galaxy, it was all brand spanking new characters. Guardians of the Galaxy didn't have the sense that it was the leftovers. You know? It didn't have this sense like you're about to eat last night's dinner's leftovers. It felt like it was something new. And it had that advantage going for it. So I would say one of the big reasons why the movie did not do so well is because, I mean, it's the characters. It's all secondhand characters, which is, again, why I said all year that don't expect this movie to be a huge blockbuster. Now, just to be clear, I thought it would do better than $370 million. I certainly did, but people said I was crazy when I said it wasn't going to be a blockbuster. Anyway, the second big reason I think, or contributing factor, I should say, why I think Thunderbolts did not do as well compared to how beloved it was Captain America 4 sucked. Now, that's all subjective. There are people out there who liked Captain America 4, and I'm not trying to discredit anybody who feels like that was a good movie for them and that you enjoyed it. I celebrate that. I think that's awesome if you liked it. I'm jealous because I wish I liked it too, but I did not because I thought it was a very poorly made movie. It wasn't total gutter trash, but it was a poorly made movie. And they couldn't even let Anthony Mackie have his own film. Instead, they had to put him in a faux version of Hulk 2. They couldn't even give him his own movie. They gave him a Hulk sequel. And not a very good Hulk sequel. At that. And people came out underwhelmed. Like a number of Marvel films over the past 4 or 5 years. People came out underwhelmed and disappointed. And listen, momentum is a real, people try to pretend like it's not. Momentum is a real thing in the movies. All right. And when you come out of a Marvel cinematic movie like Captain America 4, and people were all hyped because they're coming out of Deadpool and Wolverine, it's like, oh my God, Marvel's firing on all cylinders again. And then you go into Captain America 4, it's like, oh. I'll be honest with you. You guys know I was super excited for Thunderbolts. Extremely excited for Thunderbolts. I was more excited for Thunderbolts than I was for Fantastic Four. But even I got to admit, after watching Captain America, my expectations for Thunderbolts came down a little bit. Now, am I saying this is the de facto reason why a lot of people didn't go see Thunderbolts? No. But do I believe it's a contributing factor? Absolutely. It's a contributing factor. And by the way, you could even probably go a little bit further than just Captain America 4. I mean, kind of the momentum of the MCU overall. Now, granted, you still had Guardians made over $800 million. You had Deadpool and Wolverine become the highest grossing R-rated film in the history of cinema at $1.3 some odd billion. But again, we're not in the best place right now for the MCU. The third contributing factor I would propose as to why Thunderbolts didn't do better compared to how loved the movie was there was no connection. Now, at the end of the day, you guys have heard me say this before. At the end of the day, if you just make good movies, it really doesn't matter. Like Rob and I will have this discussion a lot. Like Rob, one of Rob's big complaints, and he's not alone, many other people feel this way too, but like one of Rob's big complaints about recent MCU is that too much of it feels too isolated, doesn't feel like it connects to the overall cinematic universe. And while I don't disagree with that, I don't think that's really a big deal. Because if you just made the movies well, it really wouldn't matter. If Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was a banger movie, people wouldn't care that it didn't have a lot of connective tissue to whatever the overall story of the MCU is supposed to be. If they had made Marvels, which I think is better than people give it credit for. I don't think it's like really a really good movie. No, but I didn't think it was all that bad. But still, if they had made Marvels a banger of a movie, nobody else would care. Because you know what? You know, it doesn't feel like it has a lot of connective tissue to anything outside. I mean, you had a post-credit scene where you saw the Fantastic Four ship. Woo! Who cares? But you don't hear anybody complaining about, man, there just wasn't a lot of connective tissue to whatever the overall multiversal story of the MCU is right now. You know why nobody complained about that? Because the movie was really good. The movie was really good. And so nobody cared. That like there wasn't a part of the plot that was connected to the overall multiverse saga of the MCU Phase 5. Nobody cared because the movie was really good. But when you don't have anything that looks obviously connected, you will decrease the number of people before the movie comes out who get all that interested in it. For example, everybody went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and most people loved it. If Thunderbolts, and I'm not saying they should have done this, believe me, I'm not, but just follow me here, just for the sake of the discussion. If Thunderbolts, in its marketing, had shown some sort of connection to Deadpool and Wolverine, like this is following up Deadpool and Wolverine, like you're going to see what happened to, what was the name of the bad guy in Deadpool and Wolverine again? The guy at the TVA? I keep forgetting his name. Guys in the live chat, what was the guy at the TVA who's ultimately, the guy from Succession? What was that character's name? I'm freezing on it and I can't believe it. Paradox. Thank you, Q. Q was the first one to put it in there. So if you were watching the trailer for Thunderbolts and all of a sudden, you know, you see Yelena say, I've been tasked with a mission to take this paradox to unbreakable prison. That is the greatest Russian accent you are ever going to hear, guys. You've been blessed by just hearing the greatest Russian accent ever done. Anyway. But if Yelena did that and said, I must take paradox to prison, right? All of a sudden, you're going to get a lot more interest because from all the people who saw Deadpool and Wolverine, they're going to, oh my God, we're going to go see this. But instead, you got a lot of secondhand characters. And so I kind of think, now, again, do I think that secondhand characters, Captain America, the letdown of Captain America 4, and that there was no obvious connection to give extra incentive to viewers, average audiences on the fence about going to see it, to motivate them to go see it. Do I think these three things are the be-all, end-all? No, not necessarily. I think there's probably like a dozen different reasons. But I do think these are three of the key contributors. These are three of the key contributors. And now, I said on yesterday's open mic, and I believe this wholeheartedly. Now that the movie's out and everybody sees it's really good and word of mouth is going around and it's going to hit Disney Plus at some point and then a whole ton of more people are going to watch it. Do I believe if they do a Thunderbolts 2 that 600 million is now in play? Yeah. I think if they make a Thunderbolts 2 now, it will make significantly more money than the first one did. But nobody knew before the movie came out that the movie was going to be great. And so, anyway, so that's kind of my take on why I think of the new Avengers, why I think Thunderbolts, even though it was completely beloved by the audience and really liked by the critics, it only managed to scrape together 370 million, and it'll make a little bit more, but I still don't think it'll make 400. Didn't do better despite the fact that everybody loved it. I don't know, guys. Question is for you. Do you have some theories about that? Do you have a thought about maybe why we didn't see this movie do even better at the box office than it did? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to the real reason that we're here, shall we? Which is to take your live comments and questions. So we're going to jump over now to the comments and questions, and let's see what we got here. And we're going to start off with, no, that's not who we're starting with. Where are we? We should be starting with, I think, Kite. Hold a second. Yes, there we go. Okay, Kite. And Kite writes, Hey, John, did you see Bring Her Back this weekend? I loved it. Can't wait to see what the Filippo brothers come up with next. By the way, there are rumors going around that they're talking with Marvel right now. I don't know that that's actually true, but the rumors are going around. I have not seen it. Again, like I said, last night, Ann and I had Friday was a very full day for us. Last night, yesterday, Saturday was a very full day with us going to a big event in the evening. And today, while I'm doing this show, I'll be honest with you, I did not like the presentation they did for this movie at CinemaCon. I honestly didn't think it looked very good, but I keep hearing from people that it's quite good. So I am going to have to get myself out to go see it now, but as of right now, I have not seen it yet, but hopefully I'll get around to seeing it in the next couple of days. All right, next up, Isaac Martinez writes, hey, John, I was happy to watch a movie called Tornado on my birthday. Love seeing Tim Roth. I love Tim Roth. Facing off Koki, actress, as a samurai in 1790s Scotland. I'll be honest with you, I am not familiar with this movie. Is this a new one or an old one? Is Tornado a new movie or like an old movie? Is this something you watched on Netflix this weekend, or was it something that was released in theaters? If it was in theaters, I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard of it yet, but I will now keep my eye open for it. Thanks for that, man. All right. Oh, and Chuck Allstar is saying it's new. Okay, I'm not familiar with it. I didn't see any marketing for it. All right. Next up, Jerome writes, do you think Disney is going to start remaking Pixar movies as live action, or should they? You know, somebody asked me that before. I don't think Disney is going to do live action remakes of Pixar films. And the main reason is, what Pixar film do you make a live action remake of that won't just end up being mostly animated anyway? Like, how do you do a live action Toy Story? Yeah, you see the mom a couple of times and you see Andy a couple of times, but 95% of that movie is just the toys. So that movie is really just going to be end up being animated anyway. Monsters Inc., that'll just end up being all animated anyway. Bugs Life, all animated anyway. I guess, you could do Up. Up is one. You could do Wall-E would all end up being animated anyway. Up, like I said, there's a couple you could do. Somebody in the live chat is saying Incredibles. Yeah, but that's called the Fantastic Four. They've got the Fantastic Four going right now. So yeah, I mean, Amin is also saying Brave. Brave is one you could do. Brave is one you could do in live action. Ratatouille is one you could do in live action. Zootopia, no, obviously not. Anyway, so just go beyond the whole philosophical question of is it even a good idea to do live action remakes of Pixar films? The reality, most of the biggest ones they have would just end up being animated anyway. So yeah, I don't see them doing it. Because again, your flagship one, Toy Story, that would just end up being animated anyway. So yeah, I don't think they will. Now, I could be wrong about that, but my guess is, you're asking me to take a guess, and my guess is I don't think they will. All right, next up, Daniel Rahimi sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Daniel, for supporting us on that level, man. And Daniel writes, Ellie should have been more ruthless and less compassionate in season 2. I disagree. I think most people disagree. Anyway, where was the dog Ellie was supposed to kill? Oh, I get it. You're making that mistake where you think just because it happened in the game, they should have done it. Like, you're one of those people who's not evaluating the show on its own merits. Got it. Anyway, where was the dog Ellie was supposed to kill? Oh, because Craig Mazin said it would be too much. Screw that. A show should never be allowed to hold punches. I don't think you know what you're talking about. Look, one of the issues that I've heard, like most people I talk to really like this season of Last of Us, but even amongst the people who did, like my wife really liked this season of Last of Us, but one of her big complaints was that Ellie was really unlikable in it. Now, later on in the season, you start to get a better understanding about why she came across as so unlikable, which I think dramatically was very effective. But be that as it may, I think a video game is a video game. A show is a show. A live action series is a different medium. Things work differently. And I think if they had just shown Ellie killing a dog, or if they had shown Ellie doing certain other things, I think that would have what you run the risk of that doing was probably just alienating more of the audience when you didn't need to do that. I think that one scene with Ellie and she's got the girl on the ground and they're down in that basement where all the spores are. And she says, you know, Joel killed all those people. And she's like, yeah, I know. And then she tortures her and takes a lead pipe and just starts smashing her legs and doesn't even kill her, leaves her there to suffer and slowly die and get taken over by the spores. Heartless. But what I think that did was establish to the audience that a monster was born, right? A monster was born. Like, that's Ellie laying there on the ground watching her father being murdered ruthlessly, helplessly. It created a monster. And the shell of Ellie is still there. But it kind of created a monster. And that's one of the reasons why I think The Last of Us 2 is probably the single greatest story ever told in video games. Because I'm a real sucker for real deep human studies of what pain will do to people. And what tragedy will do to people. Even the best of people. And I mean, I was soaking it all up, man. So no, I think they made the right decision. I totally do. I really think they made the right decision. With holding some of that back in this medium, because I don't think it was needed in this medium. That's just me at any rate. All right. Thanks again, Daniel. I appreciate that, man. Next up, we have Jerome again, who writes, what did you think of the season finale of The Last of Us should have done differently to make it feel more like a finale? Yeah, my big criticism of the finale of The Last of Us Season 2 was I thought the episode was really solid, but it felt to me just like another episode. It did not feel like a season finale at all. Like, it literally had the ending of, ooh, tune in next week, but there is no next week. We got to now wait 2 years, maybe 3, to get picked up from there. John, it's called a cliffhanger. No. A good cliffhanger is when something feels like it's been brought to resolution and then bump, and then, oh my God, now we got to see what happened. You know, I always talk about this. You know, did cliffhangers great? Supernatural, the series. At the end of every season, they would wrap up that season's story and then open a door and spend like the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the finale, of the season finale, to kind of open up the door of what next season was going to be, and it left you on a cliffhanger, right? I don't have a specific answer, but my general answer for what I think they should have done differently is had the season end on a sense of closure of one of the storylines. Have something be concluded. Something, because you got like a dozen different little storylines going, right? Have something feel like a key significant moment has happened. Like this one kind of little storyline that's been following since episode 1, now brought to this point, comes to resolution. And then Abby breaks in, or something like that, right? Because then you would have had to have... I hate it when seasons don't give you a sense of completeness. And that's what the finale of this left me wanting. It just did not feel like a complete season. I did not feel like I just finished the season. I felt like I just watched just another episode. And if you're going to do television, you got to think about that. You got to plan that out. Again, I thought the episode was very good. I thought the episode was really good. But I just did not think they planned it out well or finished it off as a true season finale. It left me feeling very dissatisfied. And I don't like getting to the end of a season and feeling dissatisfied, but that's what this one did, despite the fact that I thought it was a solid episode. Anyway. All right. Thanks for that, Jerome. Next up, we've got Who do we got? We got Orange Hand, who writes, BookTube, I've never heard of that, is calling out someone who published a book without removing a ChatGPT response that rewrote the passage in another author's style. Just crazy. Yeah, man, listen, especially when you see what's been coming out lately. Like, what's it called? VO? Google just released showcased that new ability their AI thing has to not only create this ridiculous, realistic looking AI generated stuff, but also put in all the audio with it and everything like that. And I'll tell you what, it's getting hard. Not impossible, but it's getting hard to distinguish between what's real and what's not anymore. And I remember thinking about this very thing a while ago. You know, I wrote a book. Called The Pride. Wrote a novel. I am not the world's great author, but I'm very proud of the book nonetheless. As somebody who's not an author, I'm very proud of what I put together. But when you look at things like what Gemini and ChatGPT can do, like I remember thinking the other day, could I just have this thing write a book for me and then put my name on it? Like that seems so dishonest. I don't know, man. Like if you are putting your name on a book, like you're saying to the world, I am the author of this. I am the author of this written experience you're going to have reading it. And really, it wasn't them that did it at all. I don't know. Now, look, I think that tools like Gemini and ChatGPT can be incredibly helpful and great for research and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, don't claim you. It's like going in and telling an AI program to create an image and then holding up and say, look what I drew, everybody. I mean, that's dishonest. So I don't know. I feel really weird about that. I feel really, really weird about that. Anyway, next up, we've got NK writes, I watched Rogue One for the first time. It hits so hard after watching Andor, I'm sure. Overall, a great show and film. Do you think Cassian is one of the GOATs? No, I mean, I think whenever you're talking about GOATs, you got to limit that conversation to 2 or 3 people. Like if you're getting into number 5, 6, 7, those aren't GOATs. Those are in the top 10, but they're not GOATs. I mean, the GOATs of Star Wars is Luke Skywalker. The GOATs of Star Wars is Han Solo. The GOATs of Star Wars is Darth Vader, right? And then that's where the list ends. Cassian is a great character in the lore of Star Wars. Luthen, as it turns out, is probably maybe the most important person in the history of the rebellion. So obviously, Mon Mothma, obviously big important characters, but is Cassian one of the GOATs? No. As a character. But yeah, Ann and I have still not watched Rogue One since finishing Andor because we've been busy. But last night we were walking the dog and we were like, oh, you know what we got to do tomorrow? I literally, this happened. I turned to Ann because she knows me so well. I said, you know what we should do tomorrow night? Talking about Sunday night tonight. She goes, watch Rogue One. I'm like, yes. So I think tonight we're going to get some snack food, cuddle in, and put on Rogue One. Because everybody, like, I believe it probably hits much different after watching Andor. And that's what everybody's saying too. All right. Next up, we got Suthius who writes, decided to rewatch Infinity War and Endgame today, but in Japanese. And oh my goodness, what an experience. I love how the Guardians sound in the way that pirate characters would sound in an anime. Well, I mean, here's a question though. Did you watch it in Japanese or did you watch it in Japanese with English subtitles? Like, do you know Japanese? Suthius, do you understand Japanese? Or did you just decide to watch it in Japanese language, but with English subtitles? That would be kind of funny to listen to, I think. I think that would be a lot of fun. All right. Next up. Wayne writes, any Tadum teasers you liked? I liked One Piece Season 2. Haven't watched it. I'll get around to watching the Tadum stuff probably later today. I'll probably watch some of it. Just so we can talk about anything significant that came out on the John Campea show tomorrow. So once, me, Rob, and Jonathan are in here, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But I haven't really. The one thing I saw that got presented at Tadum was, for those of you who don't know, Tadum is like the little Netflix presentation, like showcasing what they've got coming up. The only thing I really saw was, it wasn't even a trailer for Stranger Things season 5. It was really just a release date announcement, and it's not coming out till November. I mean, maybe other people knew that, but really, it's not coming out for like another, what is it, 5 months? June, July, August, September, October, five more months till it comes out. So it was really just that, but 90% of it was just clips of previous seasons. So that wasn't even really a trailer. Now, I saw in my YouTube feed, the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer came out, but I didn't watch it yet. I saw the Frankenstein trailer came out, but I did not watch it yet. So I'll watch all those things sometime later today so we can talk about it on the show tomorrow, but I haven't really watched it yet. All right. Next, we've got Marie Seafring, who writes, "Hey, John, which upcoming movie are you more excited to see? Ballerina or The Life of Chuck? Looking forward to just out of the theater reviews." Easily Ballerina. Easily Ballerina. I'll be honest with you. If you saw our coverage of CinemaCon, while I love everybody involved with Life of Chuck, and I totally believe it's going to be a really good movie, I didn't really love the presentation. I'm just being honest. I didn't love the trailer to it either. Like, I love Tom Hiddleston. I love everybody involved with the movie, but I don't know. It just, the trailer and the presentation didn't do it for me. Now, again, I still get the sense it's probably going to be a really good movie, and I am looking forward to seeing it. But Ballerina, on the other hand, just looks like it's going to knock it out of the park for what it is. It looks like it's going to be an absolute ball. So I would say, Marie, that for me, the one I am more excited about, and I'm definitely going to see Life of Chuck, but the one I'm more excited about is Ballerina. All right. Next up, we got Jerome again, who writes, "Do you think The Last of Us will even get a season 4? Yes. And should season 3 resolve if Abby kills Ellie cliffhanger, even if they get a renewal?" Well, I mean, one of the things that they've already said, we talked about this on the John Campea show earlier this week. They already kind of said, we're not going to be able to finish the story in season 3. They just came straight out and said that, like, we are not going to be able to finish the story in season 3. So it's not even about them, trying to stretch it out or continue a story when there's not even a game. They've just came out straight up and said, we're not going to be able to finish the story in the 3rd season. We're going to need a 4th season just to finish the story. So yeah, I think they should do a 4th season. I think they will get a 4th season. And it will be the conclusion of the story, but we'll see. All right. Next up, we've got Amin, who writes, "Wondering if I should read/listen to Project Hail Mary or wait until the film." I'll tell you what, that's a great question. I have always had a rule for myself that if a movie is coming out based on a book, I will not read the book until I see the movie, because I want the movie to be my fresh experience with the story. Because what I don't want to do when I see a movie is, because when you're reading a book, right? When you're reading a book, your own imagination creates the visuals, creates the tone, creates all that kind of stuff. And then once you've created that, and that's what everything looks like in your headcanon, and then you go see the movie, well, it's probably not going to match up with your headcanon, and you're going to be comparing it to something that was in your head. So I kind of personally feel that I have a rule that I will not read a book if the movie's already coming out. And the one time I broke that rule, was the last Hunger Games movie. Like, I had waited until after I saw the first few Hunger Games before I went back and read the books. But I kind of decided to read the final book before the last 2 movies came out. And I kind of regret that I did that. So I have been asking myself that same question. Should I get Project Hail Mary? But you know what? I'm not going to. I want my first experience with this story to be the on-screen version. That's what I want my first experience to be. And then, like Ready Player One, I'll go back and read the book after I've watched the movie. But I want the movie to be my first experience with it. All right. Next up, we've got Bobby Jackson who writes, based on major trades, Marvel is skipping Hall H this year. That's what I've heard. Wise move, or should they build more hype for Doomsday and bring out the rest of the cast? Here's the thing. Why? What's the point a year and a half of building hype for a movie that's still a year and a half away? Hype is like vegetables in your house. They go bad. They die. Hype is not everlasting. You can bring up a big thing of hype, but then if the hype is just sitting there, the hype dies and the hype goes away like a fart in the wind. It disappears. So my question would be, what would the point of trying to do some big hype fest at Comic-Con for Doomsday when you've got next year's Comic-Con when the movie will only be 6 months away? That's when you use Comic-Con to hype up the movie. You don't use a Comic-Con that's a year and a half away. And you don't do all, I mean, yeah, you could do the cast announcements, but again, what's the point of kind of doing that at Comic-Con when you don't need to? You do that at next year's Comic-Con. Now, I would feel differently about that if Doomsday was coming out before the next Comic-Con. Then I would say, yeah, even though it's still a long ways away, this is your last Comic-Con chance to do a big Comic-Con pop for Doomsday. Do it now, even though it's still really too far away. But now it's a year and a half away. And honestly, what do they have to promote? Nothing. Fantastic Four is coming out that same weekend, so they're not going to drum up any new interest for it. They know Fantastic Four isn't going to be near $1 billion film like Deadpool and Wolverine was, so there's no point in trying to do same opening weekend push like they did for Deadpool and Wolverine. They got no other movies coming out. They've at most they've got 1 or 2 Disney Plus shows. You're going to do a big Hall H panel for a couple of Disney Plus shows. So again, I don't know if the reports going around that Marvel is not doing a Hall H panel this year are true. I don't know if that's true, but it would make sense because they literally have nothing to promote. And anything you do now to try to do big hype up pow for Doomsday is going to be ill-affected, and you should just wait for that until next year. So I don't know if it's true, but it would make sense because they literally have nothing to promote at this point. Anyway, that's just kind of my thought on it. It's a shame. It sucks not having the big Marvel presentation at cinema or at Comic-Con, but again, they got nothing to promote. So it would kind of make sense to me. Save it up and do some really big, blow it out of the park next year at Comic-Con. All right. Next up, we got Bobby Jackson who writes, Ryan Coogler stated that Sinners wasn't intended to be a franchise. I would love to see more of this world he created, but okay with it being a one and done. Yeah, I agree because look, I think the ending of Sinners, if you saw it, and you should have seen it because the movie's amazing, it kind of takes away any need for a sequel because they already jumped ahead like 100 years or almost 100 years, right? So what do you do now? We already know that Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld make it to modern day. And if you try to now do a movie about Haley and Michael B. Jordan in 2026, well, that's not Sinners anymore. Like Sinners is such a product of the era that it was in, right? I don't even know that would be. Yeah. So I don't think you can make a movie that what happens the month after the events of Sinners, because we already jumped forward in time. And I don't think you can make a true spiritual sequel to it in modern day, because that's not Sinners anymore. So now look, if Ryan Coogler came out tomorrow and said he was going to do a sequel to it, despite everything I just said, I would of course be excited about it. But I could totally see why he'd saying, no, Sinners is a one and done, on to the next project. I could totally see that, and I'd get why. All right. Thanks for that, Bobby. Next up. Where are we at? Bry Guy writes, Thunderbolts was great, but I'm not surprised at box office at all. What's shocking is the reported budget of 180 million for D-list characters. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I am not so sure that number is accurate. I've seen the report. Let me just bring this up here. I've seen the report claiming $180 million. I don't know that that's accurate, though. I actually think it was less than that. But regardless, I could kind of see, look, obviously the money wasn't spent on big A-list name talent. I mean, Florence Pugh is demanding a big check these days, and I'm sure Sebastian Stan's salary has gone up. But I know you didn't have to pay a hell of a lot for most of the other cast. But there's a lot of big set pieces. There's a lot of big visuals. There's stuff like that. I get it. In an era now when most of these big tentpole movies are now costing, I mean, God, guys, it wasn't that long ago that the average cost of the big tent, it was like just yesterday, it feels like, that the cost of a big tentpole movie was like 150 million. Now it's 200 million. Hollywood has got to get a handle on how much they're spending on making movies, because that's driving up the prices for everybody. And again, guys, like I always get, John, why should we care how much they spend on making the movie? Do you like how much you have to pay for a movie ticket? Because unless you're stupid, you understand that the more they spend on making these movies, the higher movie tickets have to go to make up for all that money they're spending. It's synergistic, right? They're connected to each other. If they spend more, if the whole industry is spending more on making the movies, the cost of the tickets that you pay are going to go up. So like people always say, John, why do you always care so much about how much they spend on making movies? Because that makes the entire, everything all the way down in the industry, trickling down to the theater goers, it costs more for all of us. So yeah, they got to get a handle on that. So again, I don't believe the 180 number that's being talked about, like everybody's talking about, like that's just fact. I don't personally believe it. But still, it was an expensive movie. And I could see how it would be 180 million. Because that seems to be under the going rate for these big tentpole films. It actually is under the going rate for the big tentpole films. They've got to get this under control, guys. All right. Next up, we've got John McKinney writes, 1 of 5. You and I know movies and TV shows are subjective. I didn't like Andor. While it has good points, I found it boring and far too pretentious for my liking. To each their own. What no one talks about is the toxic side of Andor fandom. Not all fans are toxic. I have good friends who like it, and that's fine. But some fans take things way too far. Some toxic Andor fans act condescending and snobbish towards people like me who didn't enjoy it. They say stuff like, you just don't like it because there's no lightsabers or pew-pew. Well, there's a reason for that, but I'll get to that in a second. Or they say you just have a lacking attention span. None of that is true. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I liked the direction Andor was going. I just didn't like the execution. Do you think fans like that give Andor fans a bad name? My friends who like the show say yes, and they tell me that they are an embarrassment to them. Look, here's the reality. The reality is I've seen very, very few Andor fans say stuff like that. And of course you shouldn't. I have always hated people making excuses for why somebody else liked something they didn't or didn't like something they did. Oh, you just didn't like it because of X. Well, no, I never said that. Like, I've always hated that, right? Always hated that. Now, I don't see a lot of that going on with Andor fandom. But I will say this. I think one of the reasons you'll hear some Andor fans say stuff like that is because they're constantly hearing that from the people who didn't like it. Now, that's not your reason for not liking it, but I have seen lots of diatribes from people there are people out there who didn't like Andor. Not many, because it's like the greatest thing ever, but there are people who didn't like it. Some for completely legitimate reasons like yourself, John. But I have personally watched and read almost every single negative perception of Andor I've seen people do. They themselves claim it's because of the lack of the pew pew. Like when you've got most of the people out there who are against Andor, they themselves say it just didn't have the adventure of Star Wars. Star Wars is about the Force and Jedis and lightsabers. Like that's the problem, John, is that I think some of the people you've talked to, they're probably coming off of seeing a bunch of other people who didn't like Andor specifically saying that's why they didn't like it. Which, I mean, to each their own. I mean, if you didn't like it because you like, if someone comes into Star Wars because they just want to see high fantasy adventure, okay, then maybe Andor won't be your cup of tea. I get that. But I've personally seen videos of people going, if I wanted to just watch a Star Wars thing, if I wanted to watch something that just had me deep in thought, I wouldn't watch a Star Wars thing. I literally saw somebody say that. So number one, I don't think you're going to hear a lot of people saying that. Number two, people who do say that are just making an excuse for why you didn't like something they did, and I hate that. But number three, I think you have to cut them a little bit of slack, because if you're having people say stuff like that to you, I'd say there's a good chance it's because they literally watched a bunch of people saying exactly that. And again, that doesn't excuse making excuses for why somebody didn't like something they did. Like, listen, I don't like the original Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. I know whenever I say that, people go, but it's true. I don't like the original Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. John, you don't, no. I understand. I understood the movie and I understood what they were going for. And I understand the allegory and I understand all of that. It just did not work for me. It didn't click. I didn't think they executed it well. That's just me. Now, I acknowledge that it's an all-time sci-fi classic, and I acknowledge that most people love it, but it just didn't work for me. It's not because I don't like Harrison Ford. It's not because I don't like sci-fi. It's not because I don't like, I don't know, androids. It's just, I watched the movie and for me, it did not deliver a pleasing experience. That's fine. We all have that. You watched Andor and it didn't work for you, and that's fine. But again, just keep partially in mind that a lot of people like me, when hearing people do their anti Andor thing, those are the exact reasons they're giving for not liking it. They're literally saying lack of adventure, no action, boring talking, where are the lightsabers? Where are the Jedi? Blah, blah. Like we're being exposed to tons of people just literally saying that. So you have to have a little grace for people who might just assume, and they shouldn't, but maybe in your headcanon have a little bit of grace for them because they've probably just heard a bunch of people saying exactly that stuff. Anyway, that's just kind of my take on it. And by the way, somebody wrote to me a little bit earlier who said, like, one of the big things that people don't like Andor going around saying is like, Darth Vader wouldn't do that. I have no idea what that means, but I had like 5 different people say, John, what do you think about people saying that Darth Vader wouldn't do that? It's like, Darth Vader wasn't in Andor. I don't understand that, but it is what it is. Anyway, so hopefully, John, that sheds some light on it. Again, nobody should make excuses ever for why somebody else liked or didn't like something. You had your own reasons for not liking, just like I had my own reasons for not liking Blade Runner. But again, give them a little bit of grace because they've probably heard a ton of people saying those exact things. So they probably just assumed you felt the same way too. They shouldn't, but just give them a little bit of grace. All right. Next up, we've got Trash Can HD writes, Squid Game Season 3 has been confirmed to be 5 episodes. I'm tired of Netflix release schedule. Stranger Things release announcement added to my frustration. I don't know anything about Squid Game Season 3 because although I watched and really enjoyed Squid Game Season 1, I really liked it. I didn't think it was the world banger that some people thought, but I had a very good time watching Squid Game Season 1. I never watched Season 2. I don't know why. I have a pretty good idea why, because when I watched the trailers for it, it just looked like Squid Games again. And I don't know. I just didn't feel the motivation to watch it, even though I really like Season 1. Anyway, so I've not seen it. So I have no feeling or thoughts about Season 3. Now, that being said, the Netflix is finally starting to do what they should be doing, which is not dropping their seasons all at once. They shouldn't be doing that. They experimented on the last time by breaking the season in 2. They saw they had great success by breaking the season into 2. So now they're breaking it into 3. I've said this for a long time and I still totally believe it. Maybe it's taking longer than I thought, but eventually Netflix will go to a week-to-week episodic release schedule. They will. They will. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but Netflix will go to that. And they totally should. It has been objectively proven as fact that when you have your releases one week after another, if your show is good, you increase its pop cultural footprint, you increase viewership, you increase engagement. Everything goes up when you have week-to-week releases. That's just a proven fact. It's not even up for debate. It's a proven fact. You know, I always would bring this up. I always bring this up when talking about the subject. It reminds me a lot of when Netflix was doing the Punisher series. And I remember Punisher came out and it was great. I loved Punisher on Netflix. I love both seasons. But I remember Punisher came out and for about 3 days, everybody was talking about and writing in, I think we were at AMC at the time, was writing in talking about Punisher for about 3 days. But the thing is, they dropped everything. They dropped all the episodes at once. And so everybody saw it after a couple of days. Nobody talked about it anymore. Like literally after that first week, whoosh, nobody talked about Punisher anymore. Like nobody talked about Punisher anymore after like 4 or 5 days that it came out. Now you juxtapose that against something like WandaVision. The number one thing people wrote in to talk about on my show for 2 months solid was WandaVision. Because week after week. And so, you know, now we're seeing them do that a little bit. And you shouldn't be frustrated. It's what Netflix should do. It'll build the fandoms for these things. It'll make them even bigger than they are. It builds anticipation. I think it's good that they do it, to be honest with you. All right. So I was just asking the question. I said, if all these people writing into me saying, what does it mean Darth Vader wouldn't do that? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. So, okay. So Cosmic Truth Tortoise writes, John Campea, the Darth Vader comment is a reference to the attempted, sexual assault of Bix. That was a big kerfuffle started by Star Wars Theory. Okay, so Star Wars Theory is a big Star Wars YouTuber. He said it ruins Star Wars, and Darth Vader wouldn't stand for it. Okay, well, look. The first thing that needs to be said is, who cares if that's what Star Wars Theory said? He's a Star Wars fan who's entitled to his opinion of something as much as anybody else. And just because he thinks that, how does that affect anybody else? I've just been seeing all these people getting so upset. What do you think about Darth Vader would do? Okay, so now it makes a lot more sense. So who cares? My first thought is, who cares? How does what Star Wars Theory, who's totally entitled to his own opinion, but how does him feeling a certain way about something affect you in your life? Why get so mad about it? Why get so mad about it? Some guy on the internet said this. Well, who cares? He's allowed to feel that way if that's how he feels. What's wrong with that? I mean, obviously I disagree with him, but I mean, why get all mad at that? Although I would say this, though. I got to say this. Darth Vader wouldn't stand for it? Darth Vader. Correct me if I'm wrong. The same Darth Vader, the same Anakin Skywalker, who walked into a Jedi temple and personally with his own hands murdered dozens, if not hundreds of children, little boys and little girls, slaughtered them. But Darth Vader wouldn't stand for that? The same Darth Vader who stood on the bridge of the Death Star as they're going, hey, let's blow up Alderaan. Yeah! Where they killed billions of men, women, and children. But Darth Vader wouldn't stand for that? Listen, again, it's Star Wars, guys. It's movies. These are fictitious characters doing imaginary things. It's not important. Now, clearly, I absolutely disagree with that opinion, but who cares? That's his opinion. That's how he sees it. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I completely disagree with it, but I don't see the point. Like, I just saw some people getting all angry at this Vader wouldn't do that comment, and I had no idea where it came from. But now I get it. But again, I would ask, why get so upset just because somebody had a different opinion? Again, I do think it's a rather silly opinion, but oh well, I'm sure I have some opinions that people think are rather silly too. Who cares? Who cares? Anyway. Now I learned something. Thank you guys. You helped me learn something today. Okay. Let's see. Next, we go to, oh, that's all the ones I've got right now. Sorry. I need to reload here. Time to reload. Give me a moment. So where did we leave off? We left off with Trash Can HD. And now we are going to go over to, once I can find Trash Can HD's question. You know what, though? This would be a good opportunity to do this. I should take a quick moment here. Pay some of the bills. Guys, we're going to take a quick sponsor break here right now and thank the sponsor of the John Campea Show, our friends over at Ridge. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Ridge. Hey guys, listen, I love this thing. This is my Ridge wallet, and honestly, I think it's the last wallet I'll probably ever need. I used to carry around this huge, bulky leather beast stuffed with receipts, old cards, and frankly, way too much junk. It messed up my back when I would sit down on it with my back pocket, and since switching to Ridge, game changer. This thing is sleek, compact, holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and it still fits perfectly in my front pocket. I've got the carbon fiber one. It's ridiculously durable and looks amazing. You can choose from over 50 different colors and styles too. And in today's world, this part is key. It's got RFID blocking tech built in so you can keep your info safe from digital thieves. Peace of mind and style? Absolutely. Another added bonus is if you're like me and constantly misplacing your stuff, they even have an AirTag attachment so you can always know where your wallet is. And to make this even better, Ridge gives you free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all of their products, wallets, key cases, even suitcases. Right now, Ridge is having their huge Memorial Day sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/Campea. That's ridge.com/Campea. And after you buy, tell them our show sent you because it helps a lot. And thank you to our friends at Ridge for sponsoring today's episode of Open Mic. All right, guys, with that down, let's get back over to your questions here, shall we? We're going to get things picked up here we already did trash cans, so now we go to Jake Campea, who writes, you think you'll still stream when you retire? No, I don't. I probably won't stream when I retire. What I probably will do, and again, I have now put off my retirement. For those of you who missed the announcement that we made the other week, is that we at the John Campea YouTube channel, we got offered a new lucrative sponsorship deal that has got me to postpone my retirement. So I was going to retire somewhere this year. I was going to retire this year, somewhere between when Superman comes out and the end of the year, the end of 2025. But as I announced a few weeks ago, we have signed a new sponsorship deal with a new agency that we're really excited about. And it's going to have me still doing this for at least another 18 months. So I'm not retiring for a bit. I'm not retiring for a bit now. But when I do retire, I will probably not stream anymore, but I will probably still do like a once or twice a week podcast. I'll probably still do, because podcasting's a lot easier than trying to do a YouTube video. And so I'll probably still do podcasting, like once or twice a week podcast, something like that. And maybe the odd at a theater reaction, something like that, just for fun. But yeah, I definitely won't be doing it. I don't think I'll be doing any live streaming anymore once I do retire. But we'll see what retirement looks like once I get there. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Anthony C., who writes, if Marvel is trying to build up hype with the Fantastic Four, do you think it was a bad idea for every time we've seen them in the MCU, they always kill them off? If Marvel is trying to build up hype with the Fantastic Four, do you think it was a bad idea that every time we've seen them in the MCU, they always kill them off? When have we seen them in the MCU? Like, the only time we've seen any connection was John Krasinski, but I mean, they killed everybody off. In that was John Krasinski in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. So I'm not quite sure what you mean. Every time, you mean the one time? Oh, of course. Then there was Deadpool and Wolverine, but that was a different version. The Chris Evans one wasn't the MCU version of that was a little bit different. So no, that has nothing to do with it. That doesn't do anything any more than, oh my gosh, they had Professor X and Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness and they killed him. Now nobody's going to be excited for the X-Men. Yeah, no, I don't. I'll be honest with you, Anthony. Like, now that I realize what you're talking about the John Krasinski and you're talking about Chris Evans, I can get the question, but none of those are the characters that we're going to actually see in Fantastic Four. And I'll be honest with you, Anthony, I don't think anybody's given that a second thought. I really don't think anybody's given that a second thought. I don't think there's many people going out there, wait a minute, didn't they kill off the Fantastic? Yeah, I honestly don't think anybody's thinking that, to be honest with you. But you never know. You never know. Audiences are a weird thing, my friend. All right, thanks for that, Anthony. Next up, Big Mouth Stan writes, will Stranger Things have the same sort of hype around it when it comes out this fall, even though they've had such a long break in between seasons? I honestly don't know. I don't know. I think they can. Because here's the thing. It's not like it was this long of a break between season 1 and season 2. This isn't the second season and we had to wait around for 3 years, like Severance, right? We literally had to wait 3 years for season 2 of Severance. The difference between that and a situation like Stranger Things is that we've already had 4 seasons of it, right? Stranger Things didn't just have one hot season and then let all that momentum slip away and not follow up. We've had 4 seasons of it. So Stranger Things, unlike, say, Severance in its first season, or House of the Dragon in its first season, or Last of Us in its first season, you know, this thing has had 4 seasons. It's far more firmly established, right? And so I still don't think it's a good idea to have as long of a break in between seasons, but the reality is this ain't the 2nd season. This is the 5th season, right? It's already firmly established. Stranger Things is firmly established. So I don't know that it'll have more hype than the previous seasons, but I don't know that it's going to lose much. I don't know that it's going to lose much. We'll see. All right. Good question, man. Next up, we've got Mary Beth, who writes, I think this was a lost lead movie. It was about, let me try this again. I think this was a lost lead movie. It was about the reviews, not the box office. Are you talking about Thunderbolts? Fantastic Four is back to form that Iger talked about and getting people into seats. Okay, Mary Beth, I'm going to try to read it again to try to get what it is you're trying to say here. I think this was a lost lead movie. It was about the reviews, not the box office. Okay, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Fantastic Four is back to form. Well, we don't know that. We haven't seen it. That Iger talked about and getting people into seats. Well, whether they do or not, I'm not sure. Yeah, listen, I think very much, I agree with the whole sentiment that the most important thing for Thunderbolts to do, especially now that Marvel's reputation is not as hot as it was a few years ago. Again, I've said this many times, I'll keep saying it into the future. In phases 1, 2, and 3, up until Endgame, every time a new Marvel movie would come out, we expected it to be great. Ever since then, we hope that it'll be good. When a new Marvel movie was coming out before Endgame, we always expected it to be great. Since Endgame, whenever a Marvel movie comes out now, we just hope that it's good. And that's different. And that's an uphill climb for them. And in that sense, yes, it was even more important to Marvel. Like if you ask them, what's more important? They're both important, but what's more important? That Thunderbolts makes a lot of money or that Thunderbolts is received really well? Every single human being at Marvel would tell you that the more important was that the movie's received well, because they got to turn their reputation back around. They got to get people back into believing and expecting that the next Marvel film is going to be awesome, because that's just not how people feel today. And Thunderbolts being as good as it is helping that. So that's good. I mean, they also would have liked it to have made $800 million, make no mistake. But if they had to only pick one, they would definitely pick making sure people loved it. So we'll see. Now, I don't believe Fantastic Four is going to get people into the seats either. I believe Fantastic Four can make money. I do. But I don't think there's any chance in hell Fantastic Four is $1 billion film. I don't think there's any chance in hell that Fantastic Four is $1 billion film. It's just too much baggage. Too many Fantastic Four movies have come out, and it wasn't that long ago that we had another Fantastic Four movie, and it sputtered. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that the trailers for Fantastic Four, I think they've been okay. I think they've been good. But the trailers for the Fantastic Four haven't done anything to increase the excitement for the movie. You know what I mean? At least to me. So I think it can do well, but I don't think it's going to be a massive blockbuster. I just don't think it will be. And that's okay. If the movie's great, and then we're leading into Avengers Doomsday, then that's fine. Look, Marvel doesn't really care. Oh no, we missed out on 200 or 300 million on this film. Oh no. No, Marvel doesn't care about that. You know why? Because they've got 2 movies coming that have the word Avengers in them that they know at minimum they're going to make $1 billion and maybe even make $2 billion each. Who knows? We'll have to see when we get closer to them. But yeah, we'll see how that all comes together. All right. Next up, we get, oh, by the way, Daniel Brown is saying this. This is the Mandela effect in great example. But isn't Secret Wars supposed to soft reboot the MCU? Nobody has ever said that. Let me rephrase. Nobody official has ever said that. Kevin Feige has never said the end of Secret Wars is going to be a soft reboot of our universe. Nobody's ever said that. That's all just what some fans have been saying. And so many fans have been saying it that now everybody just thinks that's a fact. It's not. Now, that's not to say that they're not going to do that, Daniel. All I'm saying is there's absolutely no reason to believe that right now. It could come to be, but no, that's not supposed to do that because nobody at Marvel has ever said that that's what they're doing. Anyway, okay. Next up, we've got Bobby, who writes, ever consider collaborating with Comics Explained? You should have a farewell tour with special guests. Love your show. Thanks for all you do. Oh, listen, I'll be honest with you. First of all, I don't really do collabs with anybody. Number one, because I think if people want to see me, they're going to come to my channel to see me. They don't need to, they're not looking at, like, I'm not important enough to go and collab with anybody. Like that's number one. I'm not important enough. I'm not some big star that, oh my gosh, people would love to collab. I'm a fucking nobody. Okay. I am a absolute nobody. So I don't see, I don't know. I think the idea of collabing is kind of weird, but that being said, I am a big fan of Comics Explained. I really am. I love his work. I love what he does. I think he's got a real gift. I mean, I don't always agree with him, but that's fine. I don't base whether I really like a particular podcaster or YouTuber on whether I agree with them or not. The reason I'm a big fan is because he's got such a great, and I don't mean to turn this into a sponsor plug, but one of the reasons, it's the same reason why I always liked Roger Ebert. I disagreed with Roger Ebert like half the time, but the reason he was my all-time favorite critic was he had a gift for communicating his impressions of a movie. He was so good at communicating his impressions of a movie that it always helped me better understand why I agreed with him. And it also helped me better understand why I disagreed with him. And because of that, he was my all-time favorite film critic. I think the biggest strength of Comics Explained, as a YouTube channel, is not his comic knowledge, because I know other people that have massive amounts of comic knowledge, maybe even more. What makes Comics Explained, I think, a really special YouTuber is his ability to really effectively communicate not only the stories of the comics he's covering, but also why he feels excitement for it and why he loves something. And like, he's just got a natural ability about him to be very engaging. And again, it helps me understand better about why I love what he loves. And it helps me understand why maybe I don't love what he loves. And I think that's a really good gift. And that's something I try to do myself. And so, yeah, listen, no, I have never considered doing a collab with Rob over at Comics Explained. I've never even talked to Rob. I mean, he's popped into the channel, and we've chatted a little bit in the live chat when he's popped into the channel now and again, but I've never had a conversation with him outside of that. But if any of you know him, oh yeah, I just because I think it would be so much fun, I would do something with Rob. For sure I would. Just because I think he's so good. Just because I respect what he does so much. But I don't personally, don't misunderstand, just because he's popped into my channel and just because I talk about his channel, we don't actually know each other. We've never talked. But I've got a lot of respect for him. So yeah, I would absolutely do something with him if you wanted to. Anyway, let's move on now. Thanks for the question, man. Next up, Sam Ash writes, do you think Thunderbolts would have performed better as a Disney Plus show? No, because then it would have made $0 at the box office. How would it have performed better by making $0? And by the way, it will go on to Disney Plus. So they're going to get all the benefits of it being on Disney Plus and make almost $400 million at the box office. Yeah. So I know, how could How could it have been more success? How is $0 more successful than $370 million? Yeah, I'm not sure. So no, it would not have been more successful because it went to theaters, going to make close to $400 million. Not going to quite get to 400, but it'll get close. And then it's going to go on Disney Plus and do really good at Disney Plus. And it's going to do better on Disney Plus than it would have because it was in theaters. So yeah, that's my kind of take on that. All right. Thanks for writing that in, Sam. All right, next up, we got Cam Prods writes, as a film producer, your film being a box office success or your film being critically acclaimed, nominated, win Oscars, which would you rather? I guess it depends on where you are in your career. Like if I was a brand new producer, box office success, because that's going to get me my payday. If I'm a producer who's been in the business a while, critical and award success, because that gives you legacy and that gives you future opportunities. And now you could still do that as a first-time producer too, but as a first-time producer, you haven't been paid yet. So my answer varies. If I'm a first-time producer, I want the big box office success because that gets me paid. And if I had a success, I'll have more opportunity. Sure. If I'm already somebody who's been in the business for a little while and I've produced a few things, then I would love a movie that gets Oscar nominated because that's going to get me a lot of open doors with a lot of studios. So yes, first time producer, box office. Been a producer for a while, critical success and awards nominations. That's how I would approach it at any rate. Good question, man. All right. Next up. We've got Chris Alleries, anyway, writes, seeing Namor's generals Atuma and Namor returning to the cast pick really excites me. I like them in Wakanda Forever, some of the best parts of the movie. Yeah, I mean, look, Namor was a very good character in the movie. And I hate that my mind works like this. But I can't think of Namor and I can't think of Wakanda Forever without thinking about how stupid the ending to that movie was. Like, the big plan was to get him dehydrated. Dude, there's the ocean. There it is. It's like 30 yards that way. You knocked her down. She's down. Go over and dip your foot in the water for a second. Grr, full power, be Popeye, take your spinach, boom, there, that's an old reference. Like the water, it's not like she tricked him into the middle of the Mojave Desert. There was literally a giant body of water right there. There it is. Giant ocean of water. Just walk over there for a second, dip in your toe, and be full powered again. The whole plan, I got to get him out of the water. I know, I'll fight him on a beach right beside a giant body of water. It was so stupid. It was so dumb that they did that. Anyway, Namor or Namor, both in the comics and the character we got introduced to in Wakanda Forever, is a really good character. There's a lot of things you could do with him. And so I am very interested to see how they proceed with him going forward in Doomsday. All right. Next up, we've got Keaton Habeck, who writes, does Kevin Feige need a break or even a hug? I don't know. Listen. I'm going to say something that nobody will agree with, and that's okay, because it's often lonely being right. Kevin Feige should have left Marvel after Endgame. Now, the reason I say that is not as a criticism on Kevin Feige at all. Not in the least. Despite the fact that the MCU has been in a less than optimal position since Endgame. They've still made a number of great bangers, man. They've done some great stuff. Deadpool and Wolverine, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like, I love the Daredevil. I mean, they've done a lot of great stuff. So me saying that Kevin Feige should have left after Endgame is not a criticism of Kevin Feige. Rather, I remember saying this at the time, before Endgame came out. And everybody thought I was crazy, but I believe history has shown that I was right. I said he should leave because of a couple of things. Number one, he's done everything he can possibly do. You're not going to get really anything much bigger than Endgame. You've had a movie of yours nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That happened with Black Panther. You've broken every box office record. You have literally climbed to the top of the mountain. You have literally climbed to the top of the mountain. And I know for a fact, I won't say how I know, but I know for a fact that Kevin Feige had several really good offers on the table. Several really good offers on the table. And I believe that, I've always said this, I believe Kevin Feige is a creative force. And the one thing creative forces like Kevin Feige always need is new challenges. New challenges. Now, I'm not saying it was Star Wars, but can you imagine how goated Kevin Feige would be if he led Marvel and then it crescendoed with Endgame with $2+ billion and like just this one of the most overall satisfying film franchises of all time. And then he left and in 2019 took over Star Wars. And then in 2022 put out the first 2 of his Star Wars movies. And they were awesome. I mean, maybe they wouldn't have been, but just say for a second. How goated would Kevin Feige be then? And by the way, I don't even think he would have gone over and taken over Star Wars because that would have been a lateral move. He should have taken over movie studios at that point. Forget just running a division at a studio. Run a studio. I just think that the opportunity for Kevin Feige was never bigger than after Endgame. And again, listen, as a guy who's a fan of Marvel stuff, I love that Kevin Feige's still there. The Marvel fan in me is still very happy that Kevin Feige is there. If there's anybody who can take Marvel to the heights of phases 1, 2, and 3, it's the guy who took them to phases 1, 2, and 3. Kevin Feige, he's the man. And after Bob Chapek, who took away so much of his authority, now that he's gone, he's got his authority back. I think Marvel's going to get its groove back, and it's kind of started with Thunderbolts. But whatever. But for Kevin, I think after Endgame was his time to move up. It was his time to go. And I think he should have done that. For him. Not for Marvel. But for him, I think that would have been a great opportunity for him. But anyway, that's just kind of my take on it. Feige's Alphabet City. All right. Next up, we've got, let's see. Oh, somebody's saying it didn't just struggle, John. It tanked. No, it did not. Like, sure. I mean, if you don't know math, if you don't understand math, it tanked. But when you actually look at the overall, it lost money. It did. It struggled. It lost some money, but it still is getting close to 400 million at the box office. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, they lost a little bit of money, but not that much. All right. Next up. We've got, where are we at? That was Keaton. Now, Jerome writes, would Warner Brothers have to get Ryan Coogler's permission to do a sequel to Sinners? And would they have to pay him to do it? Hey, John, can you explain why we shouldn't believe test screening? No reports on Fantastic Four. Similar reports came out on Ant-Man 3, Cap 4. Here's the thing. There is a difference. There is a fundamental difference between, oh, did we have a problem? Did we have a hiccup of some sort in the stream? I just saw a bunch of people in the live stream said something went out, but now everybody's saying it's back. Okay. I don't know what happened. My internet's all good on my end. Maybe it was just a little flub on YouTube side. Anyway, here's the thing. So C Light was asking, hey John, can you explain why we shouldn't believe test screenings, reports on Fantastic Four? Here's the thing. What I talked about this on the show the other day. Most test screenings, vast majority of test screenings that are done. And I always talk about how you should not listen to any reports on test screenings because 95% of them are total bullshit. Because test screenings are done by studios under incredible security with very vetted focus groups and signing NDAs through the wazoo. And they're always done in very controlled environments. And like somebody coming, like a legitimate person coming out of a test screening and then blabbing about it is literally risking their financial futures. And so that's why, like, when you hear results, like everybody talks, like everybody's got an insider who was at the test screening. No, they don't. And every once in a blue moon, it does happen, but like 95% of them are all bullshit. Like these test screening reports, all bullshit. But every once in a while, and it's very rare, but it does happen. And Marvel has done it 2 or 3 times over the course of their 30 plus movies. They'll do something that they call, and it's weird semantics of it, but they'll do something that's called a public test screening. Now, I think theoretically speaking, people still aren't supposed to talk about it when they come out of them, but it's a lot more lax. They're held in public facilities, like a normal movie theater you would go to. And from what I understand, they did a couple of them, not just one. When these public test screenings happen, a lot more information does come out. Now, that doesn't mean the information that's coming out about these Fantastic Four test screenings are accurate or right or any of that. But I don't feel as compelled to warn everybody about how, guys, test screening reports you see are almost always fake. I don't feel as compelled to say that about the Fantastic Four ones simply because they were public test screenings. And why Marvel decided to do these, I'm not really sure. I was not there. I was not there at the screening for it. So yeah. Anyway, I can't really say that. I can make the case almost every other time, but for this one, I can't really make the case because it was not as a controlled environment as they normally do test screenings. Anyway, so I don't know. And I don't have any firsthand information about it because I wasn't there. So I simply don't know. All right. Next up, we've got C Light again, who writes, I try not to use the race card too much. Listen, I'll tell you right now, it's never good when somebody starts their conversation with that way. I try not to use the race card too much, but seeing some grifters bash Ironheart TV show only for her race and gender is sad. Just be a fair reviewer. It is what it is. There's a bottom dwelling, cancerous shit suckers out there. It's a girl. Oh no. It's somebody who's not white. Oh no. You'll never meet a more cowardly sack of useless little snowflakes in your life that like who gets so scared so easy. Now listen, I don't think this show looks very good. I'll be honest with you. I'll straight up tell you that I don't think from the trailer that I saw And from the little exposure they gave us to her in Wakanda Forever, which I don't think they did a good job with the character, and Riri Williams could be a really good on-screen character, but I don't think they've handled it right. I don't think the show looks good. But but that's straight up because of the quality of it. I just looked at it and I didn't think the quality looked all that good. Just like I don't think, like, hey, I'm sorry, but Life of Chuck, I don't think that looks all that good. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe Life of Chuck will be great, but it just doesn't look all that good to me. And same with Ironheart. Maybe it'll be great, but it does. I'm just being honest. It doesn't look all that good to me. But here's the thing. It doesn't not look good to me because it's a girl in the lead role. Like, how useless are you if that has anything to do with your evaluation process? The fact that it doesn't look very good to me has nothing to do with the fact that the girl's also black. How useless are you if that has any part of your evaluation process of this? Any more than Life of Chuck, me not thinking it looks all that great has nothing to do with the fact that it's a white guy in the lead. It just doesn't look good. It's not that it doesn't look good because there's a white guy in the lead. It just doesn't look all that good. So I have no problem with somebody saying they don't think that Ironheart looks all that great. That's fine, because I don't think it looks all that great, to be honest with you. But when your whole reason is because it's a girl and I'm scared of girls because I'm a fucking little pussy, then you're just, then you're just useless. Then you're just completely a useless bag of shit. And I say that as somebody who doesn't think the show looks very good. But here's the problem. Here's the thing. If it was the exact same trailer with the exact same script and lines of dialogue and action that's happening, but Riri Williams was Robert Williams, a white kid from St. Louis, it still doesn't look good. And if you can look at me, if you're somebody who's like, yeah, the girl. Okay. So according to your logic, if this trailer was exactly the same, but instead of Riri Williams, it was Rob Williams. Isn't there like a singer named Rob Williams? Anyway, I'm just making the name up. So it's just some like kid from St. Louis, white kid from St. Louis called Rob Williams. You're saying the trailer would be better? And if your answer is no, well, then you're acknowledging it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a girl. It just doesn't look good. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. All right. Next up, Buck's Basement writes, John, based on Tadum, which I have not watched yet, and the presentation at the show, it seems like One Piece is the show Netflix is grooming for post-Stranger Things world. I doubt that. The season 1 of One Piece, which by the way, I surprisingly liked. I liked One Piece. And I tried the anime series. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. It's huge fan base. A lot of people love it, and that's great. I tried it, did not work for me. But for whatever reason, the live action One Piece, I got a big kick out of. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to season 2. But that being said, it didn't make anywhere near the impact that Stranger Things season 1 did. Right? Stranger Things season 1 became a pop cultural sensation. Like they were doing skits of it on Saturday Night Live. And One Piece did not. Anyway, and again, I say that as a fan of the show, and I'm really excited for season 2. I don't know that it can become the next Stranger Things, to be honest with you, but I like the first season. I'm looking forward to the second one, and we'll see. Okay. By the way, guys, I totally forgot to turn off the super chats, and I am going to do that now. Super chats are now off. Real World Be Gone. All right, but we still have more questions to get to. So let's keep on going here, shall we? We left off there with Buck's Basement. I'm going to assume you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Maybe I should assume that. Maybe I shouldn't. All right, next up. We've got Tim R. writes, I got Regal Unlimited a month ago. Best deal ever. Listen, guys. Listen, I know I say this all the time. But we live in a great age if you're a film fan. I have AMC A-List. Regal Unlimited is not as good, but it's almost as good. And if you got a Regal near you and Regal is the theater that's closest to you, you should absolutely get Regal Unlimited. Because, like, if you're a movie fan, dude, I can't remember what I pay now, $25 a month, $27 a month, whatever. The price just went up. So it's like $27, $28 a month, whatever. I get 16 movies a month I can go to. That's 4 movies a week. And when you're talking about, and that includes, at least for AMC A-List, that includes IMAX, that includes Prime, that includes Dolby, that includes, Saturday night, like at any time, whatever. When you consider that if I went to like an IMAX opening night of Superman, it's probably going to cost me $21 or $22. That's for one ticket. So I pay like $25, $26, $27 a month, and I get to go to 4 movies a week, 16 movies a month for under $30. And I get discounts on my popcorn and my soda, and I earn reward points I get to turn in for cash value. It's an insane deal, guys. And Regal Unlimited isn't quite as good as the AMC one, but it's kind of basically the same thing. You pay a flat price per month and you get X number of movies. That's wildly saving you tons of money. Yeah. So guys, if you live near an AMC or you live near a Regal, if you live near an AMC, get yourself A-List. If you live near a Regal, get yourself Regal Unlimited. Take advantage of these guys because it's just too good. It's too good. They are the best deals ever in history available to movie fans. Get them. Make sure you're using them. All right. Next up. Thanks for that, Tim R. Mary Beth writes, Vanessa Kirby is pregnant. I did not know that. This is what they call method acting. Well, yeah, I don't think she was pregnant when they were shooting the movie. But yes, that would be method. But is she married to somebody famous? I can't remember. I can't remember if she is or not. But anyway, I remember when they announced that she was going to be playing the role. I just remember thinking that is a brilliant choice. She's great. So anyway, let's see. I want to say Tim Manto is saying AMC does 3 free movies. No. They used to do 3 movies. They used to do 3 movies a week. Now it's 4 a week. They just upped it from 3 a week to 4 a week, from 12 movies a month to 16 movies a month. So now the deal's even better. Anyway. All right. Thanks for that, Mary Beth. Next up, we've got Reese Alert. I think that's what I'm saying. Anyway. Do you think it's likely the DCU surpasses the MCU in the next 10 years in terms of popularity, seeing they're still able to use their biggest characters and Marvel now without Iron Man, Cap, and more? Well, I mean, first of all, 5 years in the movie world is an eternity. 10 years is inconceivable. And as far as Marvel they can put Iron Man back in their movies anytime they want. They can either recast him. They can make a deal with Robert Downey Jr. You're talking about comic book movies. You can have them back anytime they want. So characters like Iron Man and Cap and others, they're still available to them if they want to do it. So there's that. And that they can recast Iron Man 4 times in the next 10 years. So that's a forever thing. So in asking the question, could the DCU pass Marvel in popularity, the Marvel Cinematic Universe in popularity? Dude, the John Campea cinematic universe could pass Marvel in the next 10 years. I mean, again, it's like, that's such a long period of time and so much can happen. And, yeah, so absolutely. Yes. DC could. DC's in a good place right now. Starting fresh, brand new cinematic universe. We got the Superman movie coming. If it's great, that's a big if, but I think it will be. They'll be in a very good position to start strong, to build something for the future. And yeah, they could. Or things could go south. You don't know. But could DC be further ahead in popularity than Marvel in 10 years? They could be in 4 years. I'm not saying they will, but it's possible that they could in 4 years. So we'll just kind of see how that comes together. All right. Next up, we got Jerome. And Jerome writes, where did Jerome go? There he is. Why do you think Sam has a problem with the new Avengers other than Walker and former villains being on the team? I think because he wants to be Avengers. He wants to reform the Avengers. Now, this is all speculation because they haven't said so on screen yet. So everything I'm about to say is pure speculation. But my guess would be Sam sees himself as the true heir apparent to Captain America. He's got the shield. He's Captain America, even though he's not, but he walks around with the nickname Captain America now, even though Captain America is Steve Rogers, as Captain America is Steve Rogers as Captain America, but whatever. So yeah, he sees himself as being the one to do it. Now, on top of that, he probably does have a problem with Walker, although, you know, him and Bucky and Walker kind of bridged a lot of their differences by the end of that series. Like by the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, they had a little bit more understanding of each other still. Walker, former villains in there. Yeah. And literally just nobody who was ever associated with the Avengers. Whereas, you know, Sam was an Avenger. By the way, Bucky was never an Avenger, right? Remember that. So like, even though he's great friends with Bucky, like where Sam's sitting at, he's thinking, even though I disagree with him, he's thinking, I'm the heir apparent to Steve Rogers, to Captain America. I was on the Avengers. I am an Avenger. And I was literally commissioned by the president, even though who gave the president a right to say who the Avengers are? Anyway, I was literally commissioned by the president at the time to reform the Avengers. And there you go. So again, that's just me speculating. But yeah, anyway, there you go. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Jude, who writes, one of two. I'm not going into the details of my whole top 10 list of all around Marvel movies. The Thunderbolts is in that list, along with Hulk 2003. The reasoning, the deep dive of the mental and physical traits of the characters, especially relationships between them. Like for Hulk, it was it was to me underappreciated and ahead of its time. Thoughts on my take. Also keep on bringing on the filthy. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember which one the 2003 Hulk is. Was that the Phantom Nick Nolte one, or was that the one that I was in? I honestly can't remember. I don't know. I'm terrible with movie dates, so I have no idea which one. Was the 2003 one the Eric Bana one? I like the 2000. Okay, if that's the Eric Bana one, and guys in the live chat are saying the 2003 was the Eric Bana one, I like the Eric Bana one. I think it had its problems. I think it had some significant problems. But like at the time, it was pretty new. Like Ang Lee would do this thing where he would like visually kind of try to tell the story in a comic book format kind of way, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, Hulk dogs, Marcus Y, was a problem. Hulk dogs were a problem. Again, Phantom Nick Nolte at the end was a bit of a problem. The movie had issues. But again, the whole thing struggled about Eric Bana and the relationship with his dad. Like, I thought Thunderbolts did a much better job of it. Much, much, much better job of it. So I consider myself an appreciator of that Hulk movie, but I wouldn't have it in my top 10 personally. But that's just me. But I like what your rationale behind that, Jude, is. All right. Next up, K Major writes, you made my heart smile when you recommended Air Force One to a reviewer last week. One of my favorite movies, favorite actor in Ford, favorite score, 10 out of 10 for me. Awesome one and one and done film. Yeah, man. Air Force One is still an all-time great. Get off my plane. So for those of you who missed it, somebody just wrote in and says, John, I need a movie recommendation for tonight. So I thought about it just for a second. I said, Air Force One. Just that's a movie you can't go wrong with. We just want a good movie to settle in and have some fun with tonight. And I wanted to pick one that wouldn't be too big or obvious. Like, I didn't want to say watch Endgame or something. I went for Air Force One. It's a great little movie, man. It is a great little movie. It's not one of Harrison Ford's like top 3 greatest movies of all time, but it's a fun one. And if you haven't seen it, and it's an older film now, so I think a bunch of you haven't, I would say this. 2 Harrison Ford movies that I would highly, highly, highly recommend that I don't think everybody has seen. Okay. One of them is Air Force One, and the other is The Fugitive. If you haven't seen Harrison Ford's The Fugitive, it's fantastic. And I know probably a lot of you guys haven't seen it because, again, it's a much older film, all that kind of stuff. It's not one of Harrison Ford's biggest IPs or anything like that, but The Fugitive is awesome. And so, yes, make sure you guys check that out. All right. Thanks for that, K Major. Next up, Jerome writes, do you think Sam and Captain Marvel will even get a solo movie again after the performance of Captain America 4 and the Marvels? I believe Captain Marvel can. I mean, like, one of the big reasons, not the biggest reason, but one of the key reasons I think the Marvels didn't do well was simply because it wasn't a Captain Marvel 2. That for the majority of the movie-going audience who don't watch Disney Plus, they watch trailers for the Marvels and they're like, oh, so this is all about, I'm supposed to know who these people are? Like, it's a 3-lead movie and 2 out of 3 of them, I've never seen them before, but I'm supposed to know who they are? Again, it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where these were brand new characters and you're watching the trailers like, I don't know who these are, but I'm not supposed to know who these people are. And I remember when the Marvels started, you guys who watched the show, I was criticizing the marketing of the movie because it's like, I was saying this exact same thing when they started marketing. I'm like, guys, you're marketing this film as if people are supposed to know who Ms. Marvel is, and they're supposed to know who Photon is. And the majority of the people watching these trailers do not know who these characters are. And I said before the movie ever came out, I said, I think they're going to have a problem with some people going, I feel like I'm supposed to know who that is and I don't. So now, if the Marvels was just Captain Marvel 2 and it was just Captain Marvel, do I think it would have been a $1 billion film like the first one was? No, not necessarily, no. But I think it would have made more than $200 million. I think it would have made a lot more than $200 million. But anyway, that's just me. All right. Next up, we got Patrick Stewart, not Stewart, but Stewart, who writes, and this is the final one we have for today, guys, because we've already been going almost 2 hours. All right. Patrick writes, my dad and I just got home from seeing Karate Kid Legends. Nice. We saw it at our local Regal. My dad and I had a blast. It was uplifting, definitely worth the 36,000 credits I used to get the tickets. Oh, what credits are those? Whose credits did you have to spend to get those? Listen, I'll be honest with you. I've had a lot of people writing into me, asking me, where's my at a theater review for the Karate Kid? I haven't gone to see it. But John, you were kind of excited for it after you saw the CinemaCon presentation. I was. But then I started seeing the responses to it. And they weren't great as of right now, Karate Kid's got a 59%. Now, I think this kid in it, Ben Wang, I think this kid's going to be a superstar. And I will probably go to see it. But I lost some of my enthusiasm when I started hearing some pretty lukewarm things about it. And yeah, I mean, Ann still wants to see it, so we'll probably go see it. And we'll probably do that this week sometime. But anyway, there's that. All right, guys, listen, normally right now I would then throw it open to just taking some questions from the live chat, but my throat's getting sore. I've been talking non-straight for 2 hours. You know what? Yeah, I'll still take some questions. Tell you what, guys, do it for like 5 minutes. If you are in the live chat right now and you have a question for me, look at the bottom of the live chat right now. Format it like that. Put in all capital letters, question, and then write your question. That way I know you are specifically asking me a question and you're not just talking amongst yourselves or having a conversation with anybody else in there. All right. So what do I got here? And by the way, I'm not going to answer all of them. I'm just going to pick a few to answer. So don't get mad if I don't pick yours. What do we got here? King Daddy Goat, NBA Finals prediction. Probably OKC, but listen, nobody thought Indiana was going to beat Cleveland. Like nobody thought that. And nobody thought they were going to beat the Knicks. So who knows? But I think you got to go with OKC. Let's see. Cowboy Pigeon writes, John, why are you retiring so young? I just discovered you and you're already retiring in 18 months. Well, I'm retiring young because I want to do all the things I want to do while I'm young. I've done this for a long time. I've done it for like 20 something years and I love it. I love what I do, but I got a lot of other things I want to do too. And yeah, and I've been responsible enough with my money that I've been very responsible with my money, and I've put myself in a position where I can financially handle retiring this young. So that's why. Again, but it's now not happening anytime soon. Like we're more than a year away from that happening. So don't worry about it. It's not happening for a while. All right. Next up. Little Drew writes, are you going camping this month? No, probably not. The reason we probably won't do any camping this month is that it's starting to get really hot and I don't have my van yet. Once I get the van, we're going to be doing a lot of traveling and camping, so probably not doing that anytime soon. K-Man20 saying, do you think Nick Fury will return to the MCU? You know what? I haven't thought about it. I'm going to guess no. I could be wrong about that, purely speculating, but I'm going to guess no. I don't think he will. Let's see. Evelyn is writing, have you seen the Frankenstein trailer? Not yet. I haven't really watched any of the trailers from the Netflix To Dumb thing, except for that little advertisement for Stranger Things Season 5, which wasn't even really a trailer. But I'm hearing good things about it. I'll probably watch that a little bit later today. Let's see. Let's see. Elvis C. writes, I'm afraid that the new Mando movie will be a Disney Plus 2-hour episode of Mando. Thoughts? Dude, I've been saying that forever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Mandalorian. I love the Mandalorian. But really, we haven't had a Star Wars movie on the big screen in 6 years. And the next one we're going to get is just a prolonged episode of a television show? Anyway, again, I'm not saying it will turn out that way. Okay. Just be very clear. But I have been saying for a long time, Elvis, that is also my fear. My fear is just going to be an extended episode of Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about it, but again, that doesn't mean it won't turn out to be great. I'm just saying I am worried about it. So anyway, we'll see. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for hanging out with me a little bit on this weekend. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. I hope you guys still have some good things planned for later tonight. Don't forget, guys, to come back and join us tomorrow for the newest episode of the John Campea Show. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about, including some big tickets going on sale. We're going to talk about the dumb stuff, a lot of other things going on. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. Big thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And everybody involved with the John Campea Show YouTube channel, thanks you guys so very much for your support. So That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.